Okay, so let's dive into a really unique character study. We're going to see what happens when you smash together 19th century German philosophy with a supernatural internal conflict. Yeah, we're about to find out how one of history's most pessimistic thinkers actually holds the key to this incredible, profound personal transformation.
So think about this for a second. What if your greatest strength was also your deepest, most profound shame? I mean, that's the central paradox for our character, Risa Wakatsuki. She's a high-ranking exorcist inquisitor, and her whole story is this incredible fall of pride. Everything about her struggle is built on that one agonizing question.
All right, Section 1, The Inquisitor's Inner War. This is all about the conflict between her professional pride and her raw, untamed power. Let's dig in and explore Risa's world and, the two sides of her identity that are just constantly at war with each other. This is what sets the stage for everything. Okay, so here's the deal with Risa Wakatsuki. She's an exorcist inquisitor over at St. Jude Academy. Her world is this place called Neo-Edo, and it's just crawling with supernatural threats. Now, her whole persona is built on being this strict inquisitor, Flawless precision, absolute control, that's her brand. But here's the kicker. Her core nature is the exact opposite. She's dangerously impulsive, and that's where the cycle begins. She does something impulsive which forces her to rely on these powers she absolutely despises, and that just traps her in this spiral of shame and self-hatred. And this table just lays it all out perfectly. Her abilities are literally a mirror of her inner war. So on one side, you've got what she calls her refined arts. This is her pride and joy, her keen eye, or jogin, which gives her perfect mimicry and supernatural perception. It's all about tactical mastery, surgical precision. It's what feeds her ego. But then, on the other side, you've got the volatile arts, her mastery over the elements. She sees this as crude, unsophisticated, a last resort. Every time she has to use it, it's just another symbol of her own tactical failure. Okay, next up, the high price of power. We need to talk about the existential threat of something called spirit heat, because this isn't just in her head. We're talking about a terrifying physical cost to her power. It's a constant, lethal threat that really pushes her story into this etchy horror space, blending that supernatural terror with these moments of intense vulnerability. So check out this cycle. It's a horrifyingly logical progression. Step 1, she uses her high-level magic, her elemental arts. This generates this intense internal energy. Step 2, that energy builds up into what's called spirit heat, and it pushes her right to a critical threshold. Step 3, this is the existential danger part. If she fails to vent that energy, she's looking at a catastrophic soul detonation. I mean, her soul literally explodes. So step 4 is her only way out, a desperate solution. She has to perform these ritualistic purges in secret to release all that pressure. And you really got to understand what these purges are. They are moments of extreme vulnerability. We're talking acts of desperate survival. She's forced to shed her pristine Inquisitor uniform just to cool her body down, while at the same time unleashing these devastating, uncontrolled explosions. For someone who has built her entire life around projecting perfection and control, this is the absolute ultimate humiliation. It just reinforces that feeling of failure over and over again. So the question is, how on earth can she ever resolve a paradox this deep? Well, believe it or not, we're going to find a philosopher's answer. We're about to apply the philosophy of Arthur Schopenhauer. The key to unlocking her psychological prison comes from, of all places, 19th century German idealism. Let's see how this works. Okay, so Schopenhauer's first big idea we need to grab onto is the veil of Maya. Basically, he says that the world we see and interact with every day, individual objects, our jobs, our identities, all these social constructs, it's all an illusion. It's not ultimate reality. He called it the world as representation. It's just a story we tell ourselves. Now, when you apply this to Risa, bam, it changes everything. Her pride, her job title, her perfect mimicry skills, all of it is part of this veil. It's an illusion she has mistaken for her true self. Her whole professional ego is just a mask. And that deep shame she feels, it's not real either. It's just her being attached to this illusion. So, if the world we see is an illusion, what's real? Well, according to Schopenhauer, beneath that veil is the will. This is the true underlying reality. A singular, blind, irrational, and just insatiable life force that drives all existence. And our intellect, the thing Risa values so highly, is just a secondary tool. It's a servant to this will. And this is where it all clicks into place for Risa. Her explosive elemental bombs and that dangerous spirit heat. That's not her failing. That is the most direct, the most honest expression of this fundamental will breaking through her constructed persona. It's not a flaw. It's the truth of her being. Okay, let's move on to section 4, from shame to truth. This is all about reinterpreting Risa's internal state. We're going to see how this philosophical key starts to turn the lock, transforming her self-loathing into, well, something like metaphysical alignment.
So this philosophical lens just creates this massive shift in perspective. Look at the old view. Her explosions are tactical failures, a source of deep shame. Her rituals are just acts of desperate venting and vulnerability. But now, look at it through the Schopenhauerian view. Those explosions, they're the metaphysical truth of her being. And the rituals, they become a meditative purge, a chance for detached observation. Shame becomes truth. Desperation becomes meditation. It's a total flip.
It's exactly like this quote says. She becomes a pure, will-less subject of knowledge, observing her own explosive power with clinical detachment rather than shame and emotional turmoil. So instead of fighting her nature, she just learns to watch it. She detaches her ego from the raw power. And in doing that, a moment of pure horror transforms into one of profound, almost beautiful contemplation. It's incredible. All right, section 5, acceptance in annihilation. Now we get to the climax in the Forbidden Forest. This new mindset of hers gets put to the ultimate test, and her transformation stops being theoretical. It's about to be made real through one final, terrifying act. So here's the setup for the final confrontation. A bunch of ambitious students actually follow Risa into the forest. Their plan? To steal her power when she's at her most vulnerable. But then a powerful primal geist shows up and, well, it starts picking them off. When Risa finally arrives, she walks into the scene of absolute horror and betrayal. But the old Risa is gone. She sees it all with this new metaphysical clarity. And this is the key. She realizes the students and the Geist are, in a way, one and the same, different facets of the same blind will devouring itself. She's seeing past the human drama of betrayal. She doesn't see allies and enemies anymore. She just sees this horrifying impersonal reality underneath it all. It's all just the will, trapped in a meaningless self-destructive cycle. So her response isn't what you'd expect. It's not anger. It's not a quest for revenge. It comes with a cold, resigned look in her red eyes. It's a purely philosophical choice she's about to make. She consciously, deliberately unleashes a full spirit heat explosion, and it vaporizes both the Geist and the students. This is so crucial. This final, devastating act is her fully embracing her true nature. But it's not a weapon of passion or rage anymore. It's a detached, clinical tool she's using to impose stillness. And again, this is not revenge. It is a Schopenhauerian quieting of the will. She is simply ending one small, violent outburst of that universal striving. And with that, her fall of pride is complete. Her journey ends not by conquering her flaw, but by fully accepting her raw power as the ultimate and, yes, horrifying, but necessary solution. And that leaves us with one final, pretty heavy question to chew on. Is true acceptance found by conquering our nature or by surrendering to it? Risa's story seems to suggest that sometimes the only way to resolve our deepest conflicts is to stop fighting and to fully, even terrifyingly, embrace the very parts of ourselves we fear the most.